What is a flip turn in the first place? To put a definition behind a flip turn, it's simply the process of changing direction at the wall to keep continuously swimming. Now this is applied in freestyle and backstroke along with kicking. So this allows you to continuously move through a set without having to stop, take a breath at the wall, and then push off again. So we do this because it's faster. If you think about taking a break by grabbing the wall, breathing, and then pushing off, the act of doing a somersault is actually much faster. This also is not only more efficient, but it allows you to build endurance, because if you're swimming, say, 200 meters in a short course pool at 25 meters long, if you have to stop 7 times in the course of that 200, it doesn't seem like a lot, but over the course of a longer distance, this actually adds up to a lot. So if you're a triathlete and you're not interested in doing a flip turn because you don't think it's going to matter, it'll actually improve your overall fitness level and allow you to train at a much higher level, because you're eliminating all these small gaps that interrupt your swim, whether it's every 25 or 50 meters. Now, if you're not familiar with doing a flip turn and you've never done one in your entire life, we're gonna learn the 5-step process so you can master a flip turn in just minutes. Now, the first step is mastering a standing somersault. So the key to doing a flip turn is being able to do a somersault, and the way you start learning this is not at the wall. Simply standing vertical with your face looking directly what's in front of you. You use either one or both hands to push off in the air, and you want to get comfortable using your hand to initiate the rotation so that your entire body can flip, meaning your feet follow your hands, follow your head, your chin is tucked in, and you want to get your body in as small of a ball as possible so that your rotation is faster. Now, the whole point of doing this drill, even though you're not going to have a push off the bottom of the pool when you do a flip turn, is to get your body used to flipping with speed with the assistance of one or both of your hands. So that way, when you're horizontal, which is step 2, you can apply this at the wall. Now, step 2, you're still not at the wall. You're floating in the surface area of the water, you're away from the wall, and you're gonna focus on doing a somersault while you're horizontal on your stomach. You're gonna take 3 strokes freestyle, and on the 3rd stroke, your arm is going to pull you in and lead you into the flip, just like you were practicing when you were standing vertical. So you take your 3 strokes, and on the 3rd stroke, you use that final pull to leverage you and tuck your chin into a really tight ball, and you do a somersault where you finish. After 360 degrees of rotation, you're gonna be right where you started, and then you take 3 more strokes. And the goal of taking only 3 strokes is that you wanna practice pulling yourself in on both arms. So you practice with your right arm, you take 3 strokes, and then you practice with your left arm. And the key is carrying momentum through the pull. You wanna use the speed that you have swimming, similar to when you were pushing off the bottom, to leverage that speed and then use that momentum to carry you into a really tight ball. On step 1 and 2, it's really important that you're comfortable blowing bubbles out of your nose. A big challenge a lot of swimmers have is they get water up their nose. You have to be comfortable sort of with a humming sensation. So it helps to just go underwater and relax and just hum and get that feeling of pushing out air through your nose, because that's what you're gonna need to do when you flip. And the more you do it, the more control it's going to get and the easier it's going to be for you. So step 3 is actually applying this concept of doing a somersault after 3 strokes at the wall. So you're gonna practice approaching the wall with freestyle, and when you're about 1 arm's length away from the wall, you're going to initiate your flip. But nothing is different than what you did when you were horizontal. So you take your 3 strokes, and then you're at the wall, your fingertips are right at the edge of the wall, and you're going to initiate the pull that'll get you into the flip. And you want to be in a really tight ball. You want to finish step 3 with your feet being lined up less than half a meter underneath the surface of the water. Your toes should be pointing to the sky, to the top of the water, and your body should be in a position like this image right here, where you're ready to push off the wall. And if you look at this image, you can see the swimmer's feet are about 6 to 12 inches underneath the surface of the water. Their body is compact, and their arms are already in the streamlined position. After you do the pull, your hands and your arms are already in a streamlined position, so that all you'll have to do is push off. Step 4 is actually pushing off the wall. So you're gonna approach the wall, you're gonna take your last stroke that's gonna pull you in for the flip, You're gonna be in this position with your feet and your toes pointing to the top of the water. You're in a streamline. You should be able to see through the water and look at the ceiling or the sky if you're in an outdoor pool. And then you're actually going to push off on your back and you're gonna streamline kick. The only time we actually rotate onto our stomach is once we've actually left the wall. So that's step 5. If you notice, the first 4 steps do not involve any rotation laterally. As you push off the wall, that is when you begin the rotations. And you want to kick in streamline, either a freestyle kick or a dolphin kick, to get you back onto your stomach so that you can continue swimming for the next length. But you don't want to rotate while you're at the wall. A lot of people make the mistake of rotating on step 3. So that's just a waste of time. If you were going to do that, you may as well just grab the top of the wall, get your breath, and then push off the walls. Now it seems a lot, but if you break it down into these 5 steps and you isolate learning each skill, you'll be doing a flip turn in no time. Now here's a few tips along the way that you want to think about as you're working through each of these steps. And even if you already have a solid flip turn, you can always work on improving each of these different elements. Even world-class swimmers can work on their flip turns to refine them and make them even better. So the first tip is to be in a small ball on the actual rotation. So as you're doing the somersault, you want to be as compact as possible. The smaller your body is and the less space you occupy, the less resistance you have through the water as you're rotating, as you're doing the somersault. And as a result, you'll be able to do that much more quickly. The next tip is to approach the wall with speed. Don't glide into the wall, stop, and then do the flip turn. Momentum is equal to mass times velocity. You can't control your mass because you already weigh as much as you weigh, but you can control your speed. So you want to enter the wall with a lot of speed, carry the momentum through the wall, don't glide, and don't lift your head as you go into the wall. So a lot of swimmers do the mistake of they come into the wall, they get a big breath, and then they flip. You get a lot of oxygen, but you slow down all of your speed and you make it a lot harder to actually carry momentum into the turn because you took that oxygen. Finally, you want to use the T on the bottom of the pool. So if you notice, on most pools, there's a black line with a T at the end. Now the T is about 5 feet or just under 2 meters away from the edge of the wall. So you actually don't even need to lift your head up, and the T will let you know that the wall is coming. And that's when you can initiate your final stroke and pull. Everyone's a little bit different in terms of how far they flip turn, and it matters based on how fast you're going as well. And the final tip is practice, practice, practice. An elite swimmer will do over 500,000 flip turns in the course of just 1 season. So if you look at swimmers who have been doing this their entire life, they've practiced millions upon millions of flip turns, and as a result, they have a pretty good idea of what's going on. At the same time, it can be really hard to improve your flip turn because you're so used to doing something in a certain way. So doing these drills and doing these tips will really help you improve because it's something that you're going to do over and over and over again.